Hey guys, good Sunday morning. This is the Jedi 270 with my second L96. This is a well version. The last one I had, I believe, was a well version as well, but it had a fluted barrel, whereas this one doesn't, and I'm going to need to put one on here. First of all, let's talk about where I got it. I wanted to get a Boneyard rifle because I didn't really care about the internals being broken if they were, because I was just going to go ahead and change those out to PDI Raven anyway. So I went ahead and ordered it. I got it from Megastore. I paid $47 shipped to my door. And the only thing wrong with this rifle was that it was stripped out on the mounts for the rail. So I just tapped it out with a bigger screw and added a little red Loctite, and it was done. This gun still had the cellophane over top of the styrofoam when I opened it, so I was very pleasantly surprised. You can get good stuff on Boneyards if you're a tinkerer and you want to upgrade a rifle. Now let's talk about what this thing is going to cost me by the time it's done. It's going to have the Duralum PDI Raven fluted outer barrel. I'm going to put a Duralum PDI Raven receiver block. And this gun came with the scope and the bipod. Now, it's normally hit and miss on these bipods, guys. If you order a gun from, like, say, EVIC or GI, always pay attention to the ad itself. If it might have in small writing, this is not included, or accessories may vary. Because these L96s, the last one I had, it had no adjustment on the bipod. It was either straight out or straight up, either one. This one has 6 adjustments. So out of the best ones, this is the best one to get. I mean, it's still crappy. It does have QD here. It came with a QD sling swivel, QD hand stop that all this hooks into. It came with the scope, and it came with that. Well, that was it. But the problem I had with this scope, although it is a good optic, I got a lot of lens glare on the front, so I needed a sunshade. And plus, it helps the looks. So I made one. Instead of paying $35 for one, I went to a local junk pile, and I found this piece that is a strut or a side leg for these little swing sets you see in the trailer park. It's a good thin aluminum material. It has the ridges on the inside to help with grip onto the body of the scope itself. This is the top of it. Didn't cost me a dime. You know, I got like an 8-foot section for nothing. And then I thought, okay, well, this barrel's short. I want to see if I can build a silencer. So I found this at the junk pile too, and it already had this cap on the front that already had the hole in the center. So all I did was, okay, cool, I took a bigger drill bit and I made that hole bigger to make sure that the BB would pass through. Now later I'm going to build something a little bit better here on the end where it attaches to the barrel to make it look a lot better than what it does. Or I'll just end up eventually, once I get the Duralum barrel, it only makes sense to go ahead and get the adapter and put like a Surefire can on the front of it to make it look better. I did this just because I could. Okay. Another thing about these L96s is the barrels and the receivers are almost always the same color as the plastic, so it's hard to differentiate between what's plastic and what's metal. On this one, instead of going all out in the paint shop, I just got some Rust-Oleum, which I love Rust-Oleum grill paint. It's heat resistant. It's the toughest kind of spray paint out there, and I highly suggest you use it. I did shoot that onto the scope as well as the quick sight forward leaning scope mounts. I wanted to lower the scope down onto the body a little bit better, and I did that. And then I also repainted the cheek piece to get it a little bit different and just make it look more rubberish than plastic. And I think it did pretty good. So let's talk about, and I also did the same thing with the bipod. So what am I going to do to it? Alright, well, I already said we're going to put the fluted Duralum outer barrel and the Duralum receiver block from PDI. The receiver block's going to cost me about $200, $220. The barrel's going to cost me $159. I'm also going to put in a 500mm 6.01 type bore PDI Raven inner barrel. As we go back, I'll put on the PDI hop-up unit, which is a supreme hop-up unit for this rifle. We're going to put in the new hop-up adjustment lever here. We're going to change out the cylinder to PDI, the piston and the piston head to PDI, and the bolt handle. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to source a L96 stock but it's almost impossible. I don't know if you can put the real steel version to work here. You won't be with the magazine being mounted up here on these. Now the Aries version has a spring magazine that loads down to the bottom like the real one. And I got some guns to trade if any of you guys out there have one of those, an Aries L96. I wouldn't mind trading that out, something to that for you, and building another one. I absolutely love this rifle. Out of the box, it's shooting somewhere around about the mid 200s to low 3s, and I didn't want to drag the X-Protec out and set it up to verify what I already knew. So we went ahead and did the poor man's chrono, and you can tell there on the corners I took 2 shots, no penetration, and that's right up here at the barrel. So I already knew it, but that doesn't really matter much because I'm going to do that anyway. This shot was taken from about 200 feet with me holding the scope up about midway of the can. So 200 feet, and you're hitting within, what, maybe 3.5 inches? You should be able to hit a man-sized target from that distance. So out of the box, it's pretty remarkable at its range and its accuracy. But with the PDI upgrades, it's only going to be even better. It's going to hit somewhere around about 500, 525 feet per second. A lot of you will say, well, that's too hot for a regulated field, and you're right, it is. Even in a sniper role, they want you to be somewhere around about mid 400s, high 400s. But the thing of it is, where I live now, there are no airsoft fields. It's just me and a bunch of my buddies, and we suit up and we go play up here in the mountain. Okay? Now, the thing about an airsoft sniper is just like a real world sniper. All it takes is one twig or one leaf to send that shot out. But the beauty of this is I can cut lanes of fire up here in the mountain. I've got about 7 positions already picked out and cut. So I've got a straight line of fire through anywhere. So basically, if you're going to go against this rifle, once it's all PDI'd out and it's brought up to the steel internals and to the level that I want it to be, if you start out down here and you come up this hillside looking for me, your heart better belong to Jesus, because your ass belongs to me. That's all there is to it. Last year, some of you already know I suffered a couple heart attacks and had some stents put in. So I can't run a gun like I used to. Please excuse the road noise. We'll get to that in a second. But I want to go to the sniper role. So if you guys got an L96 Aries, either, dang, everything's falling, or the gas version, spring version, maybe you got a Barrett, let me know. I've got a couple guns I'll trade for it, because I want to have a bunch of different sniper rifles for different things. I want to do different camouflage schemes, different guns for different missions. Just like a pro golfer has a bunch of different clubs, I'd like to have a bunch of different rifles for different things. Also, like I said, I found the can that I made. Of course, I'll put a new one on there. But that's basically what it amounts to, guys. You know, the sunshade came out really well. Instead of paying $35, I made my own. And it's a nice scope to begin with, but I'll eventually put like an illuminated center line or something like on there. But that'll do for now. Gives me something to do, keeps my mind occupied. Now, before anybody says anything, yes, there's the road, okay? And you can tell how far away the rifle is from the road. Now, if I lived in Lexington or Los Angeles, California, or any town USA, next door to the minivan with the fake wood paneling on the side, the guy gets out in his loafers, doesn't know how to change his oil, but one thing he does know how to do is to call the police and say, oh, there's a guy up here with a sniper rifle. Here come the cops. Use your common sense. Know the demographic of where you live before you do this. Here, I got my first BB gun when I was 5. I got my first shotgun and .22 rifle when I was 7, and I was hunting on my own in these mountains by the time I was 10. The only people who are going to stop by this house, they're going to say, hey man, this is my rifle, what's that one? Or do you want to sell it, or do you want to trade it? Everyone around here has guns. My grandmother has a gun, for Christ's sake. So nobody's going to say anything about where this gun is. I grew up here. These people know me. Everyone knows me. So it's not going to happen. But if I lived in an area where I didn't know anybody and they didn't know me, then granted, for sure, then I would use more caution. Having a rifle out on the front porch or working on it out here in the sunshine on a beautiful Sunday is nothing uncommon. A couple of minutes ago, I heard a 30-06 rifle being fired up the road where the guy's getting ready for November gun season. Happens every day. These things ride in the back of pickup trucks on rifle racks. Nobody's going to throw Jedi in jail for having an airsoft gun on the front porch. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, I thank you guys for watching. Also, just keep in mind, if you want a nice sunshade, you don't have to pay $35 for one. You just go somewhere and source out the materials. And it's a lot of fun. Think it out, and then you come out with something like that. Same thing with that can. You know, it can be done, has been done. It's not hard to do. Stay tuned, and as I build up this rifle, then we'll see how it turns out. Hey, thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.